Jeremy to come on because I saw that videos were starting to come out that he was making some of the largest purchases that he's made in a very long time going into PayPal. Now, PayPal is a company that I cover a lot. Tell me, Jeremy, why do you like that stock so much?
Oh my goodness. Well, first off, thanks for having me, Tanner. It's exciting that, I know you've been taking YouTube serious, especially like kind of this past year. And, we lost a lot of stock market creators in the bear market last year, unfortunately. A lot stopped posting and whatnot. So I'm excited about you and kind of the future of your channel and whatnot, and continue to build out the space. But yeah, so PayPal, I mean, right now, it's the stock I'm most excited about from kind of risk reward standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It, you know, and I've been buying it for a few months now, and I just want to continue to build this position, especially under $100 a share. But valuation is right off the bat is what comes to mind. I mean, you got a stock trading at a forward P. We're probably looking at a forward P of maybe 12-ish right now.
Yeah.
And that's based upon analyst expectations. If you're a little more bullish, maybe we're at a 10, 11. Now, that's fine if we're talking about a stock that has no growth in the future or its best days are behind it or something like that. But when I think about PayPal, I'm still thinking about a company that I expect to grow revenues 10% a year plus for many years to go in the future outside of some sort of mega recession or something like that. So, when I look at it from that standpoint, I also like the diversification the business model has. We're talking about PayPal, we're talking about Venmo, and then Braintree, which is, just kind of there in the background that I think is extremely important and just something that I don't think a lot of people think about when they first think about kind of PayPal stock. So, and I look what they're doing on the innovation side, what they already have out in the market, and especially from kind of the Braintree side, being able to pay with a credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, Venmo, all in one spot.
Yeah.
In this day and age, people want to pay with different stuff. So, and even listen to their latest management presentation that they did last month. I believe it was on June 8th they did that. I listened to that baby, and it's exciting, all the innovation they got coming that we're not seeing right now, but they're working on behind the scenes. So, man, it's just it's a very compelling risk reward profile, and those are some of the most attractive in the market. So, yeah, very excited about PayPal.
Yeah, no, I like that you brought that up because no one really pays attention to Braintree because obviously you don't see it, right? And I find a lot of people value PayPal because they say, none of my friends use PayPal, no one uses these sorts of things, and then they go and make purchases either through Uber or TikTok, Messenger, whatever, and then you're actually making purchases through Braintree and you have no idea.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
so I find it funny that that's the sort of way it works. Like that company, Braintree, I think is still growing at a compounded annual growth rate around 40% a year.
Yep.
Like it's insane, and no one's talking about it. And
Yeah, and when you think about, at the end of the day, the more payment options you give a business, especially if you run an online business, the more money you're going to make. At the end of the day, like certain people like to pay certain ways. Maybe it's PayPal, but we know if you have PayPal as an option, your conversions go up dramatically if
yeah,
you have PayPal as an option. So just having them, now you have Venmo, like especially for a lot of the younger generation, that's massive. And so I'm thinking about all the different ways they can connect on kind of the back end and innovation that will be coming that we don't even see today. And I just think that's very, very important. And, even, I mean, obviously this is kind of anecdotal, but when I talk to if you ever have to transfer money in kind of like my friend group and whatnot, I was an early adopter kind of in Apple Pay. And so I was
yeah,
like, and then I would ask people, hey, you want me Apple Pay? And they're like, what? I don't even have that. And I'm like, how do you not have it? You have an iPhone. And so there I really began to understand, and this is just in the past few years, of like, wow, these folks have iPhones and MacBooks and all these things, and they don't even use Apple Pay, but yet they
right.
use PayPal, they use Venmo. And that's where I began to understand kind of like, it's not just as commoditized of a business as I think some folks maybe think it is. So anyways, that's, it's a very attractive risk reward. And in terms of your past with, how did PayPal really get on your radar, Tanner? And kind of what's your story there with the stock and kind of your beliefs and whatnot?
So I'm a fintech investor through and through, as well as e-commerce. Right, those are my two easiest ones because it's in my bracket. It's in my realm of understanding. I can understand things like whenever they say PayPal's complete payments bring in a 40% increased conversion rate. That that is not hard math for me to understand. There's not too far I have to go to actually sort of understand the benefits of that. I don't actually know how it fell into my radar. It fell into my radar very recently, however. So my average price target right now on the stock, I think, is like $63. And that's because I've been actually increasing my price. So I was
Yeah.
buying in at like, you know, upper $50 ranges, and then bought like my big bulk around $61 a share, and been slowly adding. See, me, I want to be buying this stock till $100 a share. I would consider
Mhm.
myself a growth investor through and through.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be holding on to PayPal forever, but right now it's just a screaming buy, in my opinion, at least for the next 50% growth, from where it is. Um, I, I look at things like, whenever I'm looking at this company, there is a 78% institutional holding on this company. So smart money is loving this business. There's a 1% short on this company. So they're looking at the fundamentals. They see the earnings per share is still expected to grow, like you said, over 20% for the next, couple of quarters, while they actually acquire their own shares back. They're buying back $5 billion of shares this year. I mean, that's an extremely exciting business, regardless of the type of investor you are. You
Yeah.
know, look at the total addressable market, and understand that e-commerce is not going anywhere. It's growing like crazy, and PayPal does 25% of the overall share of sales. And digital wallets are expecting to grow in terms of the overall amount of payments through e-commerce. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and two of the big, I guess you can say, bear points around the stock, because I think we always got to look at it from all the different angles,
Yeah,
right? Two of the big bear points people make. The first one's competition, right? And I love to hear kind of your perspective, but my perspective on competition is they've been dealing with competition for a long time. Apple Pay's about close to a decade old now at this point in time. Google Pay's been around a long time.
yeah,
Uh, the Cash App's been around a long, long time now at this point in time. Anything else you want to throw out there as a competitor has been around a long, long time. Fed now, we'll see. I don't see that being a competitive threat, in my personal opinion, to PayPal. We'll see what happens there,
sure.
but just usually the private sector is going to beat the government at whatever, if there is any sort of competitive threat there. So the competition, and once again, I'd love to hear your perspective. I don't think is as big of a deal as people make it out to be. It's always going to be there. It always will be there. It's going to be a competitive space. And then the other big thing is who's the next CEO and CFO of the company.
Yeah,
And my belief is they'll either be able to promote somebody from internal that is going to be top notch, or they're going to be able to attract a ridiculous talent. Because my personal opinion is, if they're going to acquire somebody that's an external person and bring them in to be the big dog there, I think that person's going to have the ability to potentially make $1 billion of compensation over the next 5 to 7 years if they bring in a top. Because based upon the stock options, I believe they would likely get granted, and where I think the share price of the company's going, if they do a good job, I think they have the ability to make up to maybe $1 billion of compensation over a 5 year span. So there aren't many of those opportunities out there from almost any company that you could say, could I realistically make $500 million, $1 billion of compensation over the next 5 years? So that's going to attract some top tier talent. So we'll see where they go with that. But those are kind of the two main kind of bear cases I see out there. But I'd love to kind of hear your opinions and perspectives.
I think, yeah, those are the bear cases, right? Is that Apple and Google are making headways, and even Amazon Pay is actually growing their share of wallets pretty quickly as well. Um,
Shopify Pay also. Yeah,
yeah,
that's another
yeah,
one. Yeah.
and actually, just to know me a little bit better, I've been pretty public with the idea that Shopify is my biggest holding. Um,
Mm,
so
okay.
I what we'll get into as we talk about PayPal, SoFi, and Nubank in potentially in our members video is I like an exceptional business at a fair valuation.
Yeah.
So Shopify for me is just one of those businesses that I'm willing to pay a premium.
Yeah.
But also, I've been a shareholder for years and years, so I'm very green on that position. But